going on, guys? Your host, your boy, George Mackay, back in studio again today, pre-recorded as I always do during this wonderful COVID-19. And I got a special one. This is a YouTube exclusive only. Only place you're ever going to see this interview or watch it is on YouTube because we're both beautiful people and our faces need to be seen. This can't just be audio. It can't. I'd like to welcome another wrestling aficionado, but also a man whose artwork is just phenomenal. You can check him out on Instagram, and we're going to shout out the page later on. But please let me welcome to Straight Talk Wrestling, Danny Granger. What's going on, my dude?
Oh, dude, thanks for having me. I'm really stoked to be here and talk to you.
Absolutely. Who else would I want to have on a cold, snowy fucking Tuesday in February, just after Valentine's Day, but one of the coolest and hottest artists upcoming in the scene, in my opinion. You've done some fantastic work. And like I told you before we record, I've been lightly internet stalking your Instagram just to say all the amazing artwork that you've done. You've done stuff for football stars. You've done portraits of musicians, rock stars, wrestlers. You've got a picture of Doug Gilmour holding up one of your portraits of him. Also, Darcy Tucker, the tough guy from the Leafs back in like the 2000s before he just up and disappeared. He's also there holding one of the amazing artworks you've done. You've done silhouettes of Rey Mysterio. Before we push record, I was talking about the one of Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob. If you don't know who they are, please stop this interview right now, hit the pause button, go Google that shit, and then come back because they're legends in the game. But let's start off with, because this is a wrestling-based podcast. So let's start off with where the love for wrestling began, and then where the love for wrestling and artwork kind of meshed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely, well, it did. Started when I was young. My dad owned a TV store. He sold TVs, Commodores, and Amigas. I come from Goderich, Ontario, so it's a town of 7,000 people where I grew up. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had two older sisters. I was a little bratty brother, so I got to watch whatever I wanted on the TVs. And it was always wrestling.
There you go.
And first memory was when the snake bit Macho. And that was like, I'm 36. So at the time I was pretty young and I was just taken back. And that started a big passion, and it was something my dad and I both had in common. So there wasn't a lot of things we both had in common because he was a computer nerd before it was cool to be a computer nerd.
So he was Leonard Hofstetter before Leonard Hofstetter was cool and relevant.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been that cool, but yeah, kind of. So it's something we had in common. So he used to take me to the house shows up in London and Kitchener and all those places, and I saw everyone. And I remember as a kid meeting like Razor and Owen Hart and watching Macho. But the big thing I remember the most is when Taker fought Yoko and Taker slammed Yoko. And my dad's face was just, bah. And I've never seen him that way because it's wrestling. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So, and I was just taken back. And I was like, if my dad's literally shocked, then like, this is insane. And then I was hooked. I was just hooked. And then I was hooked from that point on. So I was about 5 or 6. All through high school, I was hooked. Did backyard wrestling thing in high school with a couple of buddies. Some guys you might know, like Jeff Black, Joe Dog Hallam. We all grew up in Goderich together. We did that. And then, and I had a high school teacher who told me I wouldn't do anything with my art if I just drew wrestlers and Elvis. You can't just draw wrestlers and Elvis all the time. You got to do something else. I'm like, no, I'm good with just drawing wrestlers and Elvis. Those are my two passions. Huge Elvis fan. I love wrestling. So I kept doing that. And then eventually, when I started drawing more, you draw what you're passionate about as an artist. Mm-hmm. And my love was professional wrestling. So that's what I did. And then I started drawing a lot of local independent wrestlers because they were my friends. And it helped support them, helped support me. So it's a win-win. These guys put their bodies on the line for my entertainment. Like the least I could do is do a drawing of them, so, and that's where the wrestling really started, was from doing that. And then it's been crazy ever since.
For sure. Yeah. And you've branched out, obviously, like we talked about, you've branched into, celebrities and hockey, a lot of hockey stuff. So I got to ask, because this is like just the coolest moment. Obviously, we're both Leaf fans, so I hope you're a Leaf fan.
Oh, see.
Are you a Canadiens fan?
I am a Canadian.
Okay, so that's all for this week. No, okay, fine, that's fine. You're a Canadians fan. It's all good. It's all good. At the end of the day, I'm a Canadian fan, as in
Yes,
Canada.
I agree.
So if a Canadian team rocks the Stanley Cup or wins the Stanley Cup and it stays where it should stay, I'm okay.
agree.
Now, obviously, when the Leafs play the Canadians, I want blood. I want
no, of course you do.
I want there to be what there should be. I want there to be just violence. And but I have to ask, because these are two Leafs. Talk to me about the picture on your Instagram of Doug Gilmour holding up the piece of artwork that you did of him. How the hell did that fucking happen?
Oh, well, listen to this whole Doug Gilmour situation. So I did a drawing a long time ago of Doug Gilmour, Wendell Clark. I did it for a buddy of mine because he's a big fan, right?
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I get a like on it from Sonia Gilmour. And I was like, Sonia Gilmour? So, did a little bit of stalking, right? Internet stalking. And it was Doug's wife. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? Didn't think anything of it. Yeah. And then, about a day or two goes by, then Doug likes it. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? Right? That's kind of cool, because even though I'm a Canadians guy, he still played for the Canadians, but it's Doug fucking Gilmour, right?
And he had his best time in Toronto, just saying.
Oh, no, he's Toronto. He is Toronto. Just straight up, he is Toronto, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then I was like, okay, that's cool. Then a month or two go by, and I get a message on Instagram from a company called 93 Marketing. So I checked them out, and they're a marketing company that's co-founded by Doug Gilmour. So, right? So he sends me a message and he goes, hey, Doug loves your work. He wants to know if you would do a design of him that they want to put on shirts. And I was like, yeah, sure. Well, I'll see. I'm like a little busy, but let me run it by the boss. Right? So I said to my wife, you think this is legit? So we scoped it out. We checked them all out. She's like, what's the worst that could happen? Right? They'll pay for a drawing, and that's that. So I did a drawing of Doug. He wanted, the Doug Gilmour shot, not the one with the blood, but from behind. How he always had his jersey tucked in. Just he wanted that. So I did it, and he gets a hold of me. He goes, okay, I sent it to Doug. He loves it. He's going to put it on shirts, and they're going to sell the shirts with your design on it. I'm like, oh, okay. So we signed up a contract. Everything was all set. It's still my drawing, which is really awesome. And I was like, okay. Then I said to the guys, like, you got a hold of me, but how? Like, why me? Right? There's a lot of artists, and I follow a lot of artists. I know there's a lot of artists out there.
For sure.
Right? I was like, why me? They're like, a couple reasons. One, we wanted to keep it local. So we want to get a guy in Toronto. Cool. They're like, two, Sonia Gilmour is a big fan of your artwork. I was like, oh, okay. And they said, three, Doug signs everything with Sharpies. So how cool is it that it's a Sharpie drawing?
That is right? Fucking dope. No, it is. It is fucking dope. Yes, absolutely.
So I'm like, okay. And then that went through, and I'm like, okay, this is insane. So they send me a mock-up of the t-shirts about a couple months later. And they're like, you know what? Doug likes it so much, he's going to put out a whole new clothing line. And we want to use your drawing as the authentic symbol for all the clothing line.
Holy fuck.
Right? So I'm sitting there, and they're like, is that cool with you? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see, right? Of course it's cool with me, right? Of course it is.
You have to make them wait. You have to make them salvage it. Yeah, absolutely. I get you.
And let's be honest, you and I are both married. We got to run it by someone else, right? Mm-hmm. So then it went by. That was in September. And then just about 3 weeks ago, the clothing line dropped. So the t-shirt is just my artwork. Boom. Front and center on the front t-shirt.
That is fucking incredible.
Yeah, nothing else. Because when I said it to them, like, oh, I hope they don't do anything cheesy. Like, they don't put like 93 like behind it, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just boom, my artwork.
Make it look stupid. Got you.
Right? Yeah. Cheesy. Right? I don't want my art to look cheesy. So just boom, and my signature. That's it. So that went out 2 weeks ago, and they sold out of almost everything in a little over a week and a half. So they're restocking all the merchandise, and they're going to have more next week.
And you're obviously, I mean, not to get too much into the logistics and the financials of it, but do you get a cut of every t-shirt sold, or do you get like a royalty check?
Every time they use my symbol, I get something. So every
fantastic.
time they use my drawing, so like the symbols on the hats, on the sweaters, I get more for the t-shirts because it's just my art on the shirt.
Right.
So like he's literally doing this and supporting a local artist. And like I just think that's so cool of him because he doesn't have to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's fair. Well, that shows the classiness of. We already knew he was like a godsend in hockey.
Yeah.
He was kind of in a time period where, you know, there was another all-star hockey player, another Canadian boy. Wayne Gretzky was kind of taking over the world, but Doug Gilmour is always a fixture. If you're a Toronto fan, if you're a Canadian hockey fan, actually, fuck it, if you're a hockey fan in general,
Yeah.
you know who Doug Gilmour is, and that's amazing though. That's incredible for everything you've done. So I have to ask, has there been any, I mean, obviously you got over 2,500 some odd followers on or 2,000 followers on Instagram, but is there anywhere else that people could see your art, or can they commission you for, like, if they want a specific artwork? Like if I were to call you and say, listen, I want Kevin Owens throwing Jericho through the screen, can you do that for me? What is that something like, can people request custom Danny Granger art?
Yeah, of course. That's the bread and butter.
Okay.
I do a lot of like custom portrait work for people, commission wise.
Can you make me look good? I mean, I already look good, but could you make me look better than I look?
Come on.
All right.
It's impossible.
Just
it's impossible.
I like you, Danny. I like you.
Yeah. No, man. So a lot of people get a hold of me. A lot of the times at the beginning, it was a lot like that. Like, hey, I want to get Bret Hart in 1997 while he's doing this, right? A lot of people get that specific, which is good and bad because I do photorealism. So I want to find the right picture of Bret Hart that's going to look good. Right. And a lot of the times, like back in the day, like the early 90s or late 80s, they didn't care about picture quality because they're just going to the magazines. Right? They just cared about the pictures in the magazines. They weren't going anywhere else. Maybe trading cards, right?
Right.
So the quality wasn't the best. So it's always better if I could pick it out. It's getting to a point now, which is really cool, where someone will call and be like, Bret Hart, can you do me a Bret Hart drawing? I'd be like, yeah, I can. Yeah, I sure can. Right? And then like I'll just pick an image that I really like of Bret Hart.
Right on. So have any I mean, the hockey stuff's insane. But I mean, obviously, when you post these photos, you're tagging the superstar in the photo that you posted. Mm-hmm. Have you gotten any likes or responses from any of those legends in the wrestling business or any up and comers right now?
It sounds a little cocky, but you name them, and I could tell you yes or no.
All right.
Let's
play a little game of, did Danny get a like from this person?
We'll do. Right. Did Danny get a like, comment, or a message?
All right, perfect. How about this? Did Danny have any contact with this person? Let's do that. All right. Bret Hart.
Yes. A like, a comment, plus he's taken pictures of my artwork at signings that people have gotten signed. And he sent a really nice message to a friend of mine saying how much he's a big fan of my artwork.
Okay. Well, Brett, if you're watching this, I'm a big fan of you. I got an autograph back there. So shameless self-plug to have the Hitman on my show would be sick.
That'd be awesome.
Just saying.
Like, you had a better connection on your show for the Hitman than I could give you with TJ there.
Right. So, yeah. The TJ interview was a blessing, and that was 6 months of internet stalking, man. Every day, same message, same time, 7:05 a.m.
Perfect.
And he finally got back to me. Man. But back to the game that we're playing.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio.
No.
Okay. So we're
Dominic.
1 for 1. We're 1 for 1.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, he goes by a lot of different names, but I guess we'll say the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Rotunda.
Micah Rotunda, Bray's sister, been following me on Instagram for a while, but not Bray.
It counts. It's a Rotunda. I'm gonna give it to you.
It's not IRS, but it's a Rotunda.
It's a Rotunda. I'm gonna give it to you. I mean, if you had said Bo Dallas, I would have been like, it's not really a Rotunda.
It's still a Rotunda.
It's not. No, it's not a Rotunda. No. Okay. Well, I'm a big fan of these guys. I've already talked about this picture a few times, but Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes.
Yeah. So Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. Jason Mewes sent me a couple messages saying how much he digs my art. A quick little backstory about Jason Mewes.
Absolutely, dude. I'm a Jay and Silent Bob freak. Okay. This is a cool conversation for me because we're gonna strive away a little bit from wrestling, and I dig it. I love it. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Jason Mewes, let's go.
My wife loves Jason Mewes. Okay. And
does she love Jason Mewes in the movies, or does she
Mewes.
love Jason Mewes in the Kevin Smith story when he started walking in the library, sucking off everything he can get his hands on?
Yeah, whatever. Jason Mewes, bro.
Okay.
So, right. And she was a DJ at a university radio station. So she interviewed Kevin Smith and stuff like that. And she went to go see Jason Mewes. When we first started dating, we were going through some boxes and just helping her rearrange some stuff. And I come across an 8x10 of Jason Mewes. And it says, "Dear Kat, I want to teabag you, Snoochie J. Mewes." Right? And I looked at her and she looked at me and she kind of looked at me like I was going to be like, what the fuck is this? Right? But I was like, why is this not on your fridge? So straight to the fridge it went.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so yeah, man, we've always been a big fans. Like when my wife and I first started dating, you do the whole, hey, what's your favorite movie? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's your favorite movie? She's like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm like, okay.
All right. Little backstory about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So I was sick as a dog for like 2 weeks back in the day with just like a flu. And it was beating the living shit out of me. And I couldn't go see the movie when it dropped in theaters just because it was released. And I like to go see a movie on opening weekend or not at all.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
I didn't get a chance to make it. So I had to suffer through, wait till it came out on a DVD or I'm going to age myself, but VHS. This was in the time of the crossover.
Yeah, totally.
Crossover was happening. So I get the VHS from Blockbuster. Again, I'm aging myself. Blockbuster was a video rental facility. Young boys and girls, Google it. There's one left. They did a documentary on it, by the way. So I go and I rent the VHS and I pop it in. And it's classic, amazing Jay and Silent Bob. I love everything from the Union, 405. Yeah, we're about to strike in September. I'm all about that. All the way to, and what you always look for in a Kevin Smith movie is when Silent Bob has had enough or he's going to give some advice.
Yeah.
So when the monkey gets kidnapped and the fucking monkey's driving away and Jay's like, where the fuck did the monkey go? And Bob is just fucking pointing and you know it's coming. Sat down on the edge of my couch. It was like 2 a.m. I just got home from work. Sitting down on the edge of my couch. TV was fucking turned up so loud. Woke my parents up. I got in all kinds of fucking trouble, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
The sign on the back of the bus said Critters of Hollywood. You dumb fuck. I rewound that part like 6 fucking times and I soaked it in. So shout out to
it's
Kevin
so special.
Smith. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man.
It is. When Silent Bob loses his shit,
yeah,
it's always good. Just like when he gives the speech in Clerks about lasagna.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect comedy.
Yeah, it's a perfect metaphor for relationships, especially within the dynamic of the time frame the movie was made. So all you kids out there who have no idea who Kevin Smith is, do your fucking research, please. Please do your research and show some respect because all these cool, hip comedians that you love now, this is where it all started from. The way comedy changed was in the 90s when Clerks and Mallrats and all that shit was coming.
And a lot of the way that the geekdom is nowadays is because of Kevin Smith.
Thank you. When I was
the Comic-Cons, all that stuff.
Oh, I told a girl I like comic books. She laughed at me like I was retarded.
Of course.
Now it's like, yeah, I got a comic book collection worth of, couple grand if I sell it properly. Oh, really? Yeah. Remember me? I was a guy you wouldn't bat an eyelash at grade 6. Fuck you.
go date that guy from high school who's now a cop.
Exactly. So, okay, back to the game we were playing though, because I got to ask this one. You have a really fucking epic drawing of, where is it here? I just lost it now. Oh, DDP. The epic DDP drawing. And I know I've seen that in other posts besides your own. So tell me, the most positive motherfucker in the world hit you up and was like, yo, bang.
You want to see the text message?
I do.
No. I'll have to show you later then.
All right, that's fine. You have to screenshot it to me though, because it's not going to come out on the camera.
DDP story, ready?
Yes, DDP me.
Okay. I'm at work. I worked at a hardware store. I managed a hardware store. Mm-hmm. I get a phone call at work and it's my mother-in-law. So the phone rings. She's like, hello? I'm like, oh, Graham. Of course. She's grandma, right? I'm like, hey, Graham, what's up? She's like, oh, Liam, she's my brother-in-law, is doing yoga. I'm like, cool, right? I'm at work, right? Like, Liam's a professional basketball player. So for him to do yoga, it's like, cool, I'm at work. Cool, right? Yeah. And she's like, it's DDP yoga. I'm like, okay, there's a relation, right? Okay, putting 2 and 2 together now. She's like, yeah. I was like, but I gotta go, right? Like, I'm at work. And she's like, he's doing it with DDP at DDP's house. That's why he called me at work. So that night, I talked to my brother-in-law, and I was like, "Hey, man, what happened today?" "Oh, nothing." "No, man, what happened today?" Right? Because he knows. He knows I'm a
Wait,
huge
could you
mark,
say that
right?
part again? Hey, man, what happened?
No, yeah, no. What happened today?
Hmm.
Right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, man. No, I thought of you today." He's like, "I went to the house. I knocked on the door, and Razor Ramon answered."
Oh, shit.
Right? And I look over, and Jake the Snake's over there eating cereal. Well, Diamond comes up and gives me a big hug, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I would have freaked a bit, I think." He goes,
I
"Yeah,
would
I
have
was thinking
lost
you the
my
whole time."
shit. I would have
Right?
passed out.
But he's not a huge fan, so big wrestling fan then. So like he didn't whatever to him, right?
Oh.
So he said to DDP, he's like, "Hey, my brother-in-law's an artist. He's done a couple drawings of yours." And DDP goes, "The Sharpie guy?"
Shut the fuck up.
Right?
What?
He goes, "The Sharpie guy?" He's like, "Yeah, that's my brother-in-law." And then ever since then, DDP and I have had this, like, we're not friends, right? He's friends with my brother-in-law though. So like we've talked a couple times on FaceTime when my brother-in-law's with him. And like I've got to bounce some questions off of him. And yeah, man. So we built
Fuck,
that
Danny, you're my
relationship.
idol.
Don't push it that far.
No,
But
dude, I've been trying to get DDP on the show for 4 years. I must have sent 3 million emails. Not a response.
we'll talk after. So yeah, so I don't so yeah, they became friends, and then DDP's been a fan of my art. He has a piece of my art hanging up in his office.
Wow.
And
That's insane.
yeah, so when that first happened, Jake the Snake was in town doing a stand-up show at Yuck Yucks.
Right. Okay. Yes, I remember this. The what was it called? Fuck. There was like the
It's like a resurrection tour.
Yes, it was a resurrection tour based off that awesome documentary. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
So he's in town. My brother-in-law goes, "Hey, I got a hold of Jake, and he's gonna leave you tickets at the door." So it was myself, my brother-in-law, and my mother-in-law. So I did a painting for Jake because why wouldn't I? It's an opportunity.
Hell yeah.
So right. So they're like, "Jake's gonna call you guys at 2 p.m. So be by your phone." So he gave him my other brother-in-law's phone number. So we're sitting outside at my mother-in-law's porch. And we're sitting there and the phone rings. So my brother-in-law, he played pro hockey. He's a tough guy. He knows Jake the Snake, of course. He's our age, right? Phone rings, puts on speakerphone. He goes, "Hello, Jake." "Hey." He's like, "Hey, is this the big guy's brother?" And because my brother-in-law, the youngest brother-in-law, is 7'2". 7'2", 300 pounds.
Jesus
right?
Christ.
Yeah, so he gets called little guy a lot, right? We're big man. So he's like, "Is he and Sean's like, "Yeah, it is." "Oh, hey, well, you come down, yuck, get tickets waiting for you." Right? Because it's Jake, right? My brother, no idea what he said. My mother-in-law, no idea what he said. I heard
Jake.
Everything, bro.
Absolutely.
And because I've been listening to that voice for the past 30 some odd years, right? So we talked on the phone with him for a couple minutes. And they were like, "What do you say?" I go, "Okay, so we got to be there at 7:05. When we get there, we got to talk to a guy named Randy. Randy's going to give," right? And they're like, "How'd you understand that?" I was like, "I speak Jake," right? Because I've been listening to him.
Every wrestling fan speaks Jake. You got to have a wrestling fan around Jake. Or else, right? Yes, you won't know. But if you have a wrestling fan, you'll know exactly what Jake the Snake said. I understood everything you said in your impression. I was like, okay, 7:05, you got to meet Randy. I get you. I feel you.
Yeah, 100% Jake talk, right? So yeah, we went to that show, and he stayed afterwards, took a picture with us, did the whole Jake the Snake towel over his head, he's busy thing, right? Like he always does. But he stopped and took a picture with us, and I gave him the painting, and he really liked it. He hung it up, and yeah, and that was all because DDP hooked us up with Jake.
Wow.
Which is pretty freaking cool, man.
Absolutely. Listen, DDP is the power of positivity. I just actually sat down. Your interview is going to drop before his, but I sat down with Mark Merrill. And
awesome.
Mark Merrill is one of those guys in the wrestling business who is vilified for what happened during the Chris Benoit era, because he came forward and said, "Listen, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. This didn't happen. I went through this, this, and this. And if these protocols were put into place, maybe we could have saved some of these young men and women's lives." Yeah. And lo and behold, what do we have now? We have the wellness policy. We have the 3 strikes you're out rule. We have the drug testing, the random drug testing that happens. Wrestling now behind the scenes is a much, much better place. And I said that to Mark Merrill. I said, if it wasn't for you being that sacrificial lamb, we wouldn't have had those things. So from wrestling fans around the world, you've kept a lot of wrestlers' careers going because you were able to make sure they got the help that they needed. And
not just careers, but their lives.
Exactly. And the funny thing was, he was like, yeah, you know, I moved to Atlanta and I live down the street from Dallas. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, listen, I got to ask this because you're so positive. Dallas is so positive. What the fuck? Do you guys have a conversation? You try to one up who is more positive? And Mark looked at me with kind of this like Cheshire grin smile. And he's like, yeah, you know, sometimes we just try to out positive the other one. Like, could you imagine having a conversation like that? I couldn't imagine having a conversation where I'm so positive and the other person's so positive. I'm like, well, listen, I'm positive that you're positively amazing. No, shut up. You're positively amazing. And it was like, I could just imagine this in my head. But it's incredible that a guy like Dallas, who is so revered in the wrestling world, does the things like that. He could have just taken the art and been like, you know, I'm hanging on my wall. I appreciate it. You're the Sharpie guy. Much love. But not only did he do that, he paid it forward. He's like, listen, I'm going to hook you up with Jake. I know you're going to want to do something. And that's the coolest part about this little community, because the wrestling world is so big, but yet it's so small. Yeah. Well, you hit me up on Instagram months ago and you were like, your fucking background's looking sweet, but you need some Danny Granger art on that wall. And me being the cheap, you know, bastard that I am, because I got 2 small kids and I got a lot of bills to pay. I was like, you're going to throw some free artwork my way. Let's do it. And all of a sudden, boom, here we are. We're having a conversation. And it's amazing. And I got to ask this question because I love your artwork and I've loved your artwork for a long time. When you hit me out, I geeked out a little bit, but I had to play it cool. I'd be like, oh yeah, I can fit you in, Danny. Let me just check my date book here. Yeah, I could do this, no problem. But how much Sharpies do you go through in one piece? I got to ask.
Not much. Not much. Probably one. If you could add it all together, probably one. It all depends on the piece.
Like the thin Sharpie or the thicker Sharpies? You only use the thin ones, right?
It all depends on the drawing, right?
Okay, so that Doug Gilmour one that you did. Actually, you know what? No, better.
Not even one.
Okay, this, I don't know if the fans can see it, but it's on your Instagram. But this is the lead singer of the Tragically Hip.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black in this one, a lot of detail. So how much Sharpie did you use on that one?
Well, they got the magnums.
Right.
Right?
So the Magnum. Okay.
Magnum. Yeah, I go through the magnums a lot more than I go through the little ones.
The little ones are more for the fine details, right? The Magnum is really for the shading.
Yeah, for the background. And like for like that one, it's about 3 coats.
Right.
With them. So like it's not just going over it once. It's going over it one way, then going over it the other way, and then going over it the other way. And making that black just pop it, because it makes that white just pop on it.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. The white is the contrast and the white is just paper, right? Like I only use the black.
Right. And I've only seen a few pictures, like the Tragically Hip one I just showed. It has the poppy in color for obvious reasons, you know, proud Canadians for sure. The poppy means a lot to us over here. But there's some that have also shades of colors, but not a lot of shade. So like, has Sharpie approached you of sponsoring you and saying like, yo, we're going to give you Sharpies for life?
No. And this is the
wow.
Not to sound big-headed or anything. The thing is with Sharpie, I've talked to them a couple times, and they like to promote their markers to people, the regular people that use them. Right. So not everybody could draw how I can draw with a Sharpie marker.
I don't think anybody can draw like you draw with a Sharpie marker. Like I never seen somebody do the detail and the work they do with a Sharpie marker. I've never seen it. Yeah,
it's there's not a lot of us. Of course, I know a bunch of guys because, well, that's what I do.
Are you like a Sharpie community?
There's different little Sharpie communities that I'm not a part of because I tried it. Okay. Right? Like one of them's like, show us your Sharpie collection. And like, that's my desk in my little studio over there. And that drawer's full of Sharpies, right? Different colors, different shapes, different everything, right? So I was like, okay, I'll put a picture up, show my Sharpie collection, whatever. And then they send me like all these long lists. Hey, that green, is that a GRW 567 green from 1997? I'm like, it's dark green, bro. Like, I bought it because it's dark green and I needed dark green to do a tree. Like, that's it, right? But like that kind of community, like there's some people who collect them, right?
Oh, and, shit, like hardcores. So like do they have colors? Do they have colors in other parts of the world, other countries that they don't have here? Like, does the US have different shades of Sharpie compared to Canada?
They discontinue some.
Oh, okay.
So some colors are discontinued, or you can only buy them in packs.
Oh.
Like there's a bunch of art stores here in town that used to sell them individually. So they'd have a wall with little containers, and they'd all be individual. And that'd be great for me, because it's like, oh wow, you know, like I ran out of pink. I don't want to buy a 12-pack. Or because I know I'm going to do like one Bret Hart drawing next week. I just want to get one pink.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Right.
Right.
So I used to go there. There was a big art store here called Curry's, and they're like, you know what, we're not going to carry Sharpies anymore. And I went in there looking for them. I'm like, why not? And they're like, well, sir, you're the only one that comes in and buys them this way. And I was like, oh, well, you should keep them for me then.
Yeah.
Right.
Or just sell me whatever you got fucking left.
Well, that's what they did. They cut me a little bit of a deal, and I bought a bunch of them because I've done 2 art shows now for children's charities.
Wow.
I've done them both with a friend of yours as well, Mr. Chris Chambers.
Chris is an
SUPERKICK.
Yeah, he's an amazing human being. He's a fantastic human being. Even though I totally screwed up and fucking shit the bed on my research, and I was like, "You're the one half owner of SUPERKICK," and his face was like, "No, fuck that,
no, bro, no, bro."
The only reason I got confused on that, this is a perfect platform to air it out, is because I watched this CBC news clip from like when they were starting up, and they put him and this other guy as the co-owners. So I couldn't find any other research. So I just took that clip at face value because it's fucking CBC. I figured they're not going to lie. So I took it and I did it. And I was like, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I could save this and edit myself out so I don't look like an idiot. But I'm like, you know what? I'm real. I'm in fucking errors. Totally. So I left it in, and I got a couple comments that were like, well, I thought you prided yourself on your research. I do, but unfortunately, sometimes the research can't get the best of me, because at the end of the day, it's the internet. It's not like 100%. It's not like I have an encyclopedia of Chris Chambers and I can just pull it out and do the research. I got to go with what's in front of me on the internet.
100%. No, like him and I have been good friends for a long time. And then what I decided to do, well, what originally happened was I go to SUPERKICK shows. I started going to SUPERKICK shows because I worked in Liberty Village. And Liberty Village is where they have SUPERKICK wrestling.
Absolutely.
So I started going to the SUPERKICK shows because why wouldn't I? And then this young guy came into my shop saying, can I drop off some SUPERKICK posters? Do you mind if I hang one up in the window? And I was like, dude, you're talking to the right dude. Yes, you can do whatever you want. Leave them on the counter. Put 6 in the window. Like, sure. Promotes indie wrestling. All for it. Right? So then he's like, cool. And then on his way out, I said, hey, man, do you work for them? He's like, oh, no, I'm training to be a wrestler. I was like, oh, cool, man. Cool, right? If you ever want to talk, come in. Love to talk about wrestling anytime. So leaves. And on the way out, he stops and goes, are you guys hiring? And I said, you start on Monday. Right? And he goes, oh. I go, yeah, and we'll work around your training schedule. So whatever night you train for wrestling or you have shows, you don't work. Like your wrestling is the most important thing to you. I'll give you a job, but wrestling comes first, the job comes second. And
wow.
That was San Andreas from SUPERKICK.
Oh shit.
And so he started working at the shop and we became instant buddies, of course. And then he introduced me to Chris. At that point, I knew Chris could come into the shop to buy, chain, black tape, and, wrestling stuff that you need.
Just the standard shopping list. Absolutely.
Yeah, thumbtacks, chains, and black Gorilla tape. So like I gave them a discount on stuff and, help support my buddies. And then Chris and I became friends. And I had a crazy idea because of that art teacher we talked about earlier, I had a crazy idea that I wanted to do wrestling art and do a silent auction. I was like, I'm just going to do my wrestling art, do silent auction. We're going to raise money for Sick Kids Hospital. So we did that a couple years ago, and we put it on as SUPERKICK. We had all my artwork. We auctioned it all off, raised a bunch of money, and then the boys and girls put on a wrestling show that night afterwards. So it was a great time. And that night, certain Jody Threat got her green light thanks to my art show, which is pretty cool. So that got Jody and I super close after that. And we raised over $2,000 for Sick Kids Hospital. And then we did another one 2 years later in the memory of one of my best friends, Mr. Johnny Gale, because him and I were just super close, and he loved my artwork. So we did in the memory of him for Hall and Floor View, which is a kids rehab hospital. Mm-hmm. And so now we've raised over $5,000 for children's charities just with my wrestling art. So that art teacher can, have a good time looking at that.
Go old school with it. Go old school with it right now, Danny. Look in the screen. and say, I got 2 words for you?
Well, I wish I could, but you know, I'd have to say it pretty deep underground for that guy now.
Well, you know what?
But I'll still say it.
No, say it then.
I'll still say it.
There you go. Well, you know what though? That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Over $7,000 raised for children's charities, and you're the Sharpie guy. You're known as a Sharpie guy, man. And like I said, you've had some legendary artwork. And you know, if Danny Granger wants to throw one my way to be on the wall, I'm not going to say no.
No, he needs to, because there's that blank spot right there, and I keep staring at it. You
Talking
know,
about that one, right?
You know, oh, I'm bad like that, man. I see a blank spot on a wall anywhere I go, and I'm just like, huh.
Well, you know what? The door also, like, it stays closed most of the time. The furnace is in there, so I don't mind hanging some on the door.
Yeah, perfect. Or when things are said and done, I could come over. We could hang out. We could just do a big portrait on it.
Sold. Done.
Yep. Deal.
Done. Absolutely done. So a couple more questions before I go. Wrap
yeah,
up.
Man.
Let's do some fun with it. You've been a wrestling fan your whole life, so generations. You know generations.
Yeah.
I want to play a game called Centuries.
Okay.
And we're gonna name wrestlers that each of us only gets one. And if one steals the other, you have to try to think of one on the fly. And if you can't, you got to say pass. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So for example, if you and I both, if I said 80s and you and I both said Macho Man, but I said it first, you got to think of somebody else on the fly. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way it works. So let's go with, because I can't go 50s and 60s. Actually, I could go a little 50s and 60s. We'll go from 70s. How about this? 70s.
Okay.
All right. So just to give you an example, I will go first and I will say Boris Malenko.
Oh, look at you. I'd have to throw in San Martino.
All right. That's good. That's good. 80s. I will go ahead and say, I'll say it. Macho Man.
Oh, I was going to go Andre. I don't think you can get bigger than Andre in the 80s.
No, you can't. You can. It's unfortunately what happened to him as his career declined, but it's hard sometimes watching those old clips for sure. All right, 90s. This one's easy for me. Everybody knows this. You listen to my show, you know I'm going to pull this name out. I'm going to give all 3 names. Terror Rising, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Bam! There's your 90s.
Oh, Triple H. See, I always loved the Heartbreak Kid. And
Even now with the one eye that just looks to the left.
Oh, well, he lost his smile, bro. Leave him alone.
I have a friend of mine.
He lost his smile.
My former co-host, the voice, Michelle Arujo. I bust her chops all the time. Every time he's on screen, I just take a picture. I'll send it to her. I'll be like, look, it's One-Eyed Willie. Look at him. He's great.
Yeah, he had his run of being handsome for a long time there.
Absolutely. So Shawn Michaels is your 90s pick. All right.
Yeah, Shawn. Yeah.
All right. 2000s.
This isn't easy.
It wasn't easy. There's a lot of great talent in the 90s, but 2000s, you know what? This may surprise some people, but I was a big fan of this guy and I just never felt he got the push that he needed. But Chris Kanyon, man.
Oh, Chris Canyon's awesome. You can't go wrong with Dwayne Johnson, buddy.
Absolutely.
You can never go wrong.
Johnson was 90s, 2000s, but I'll give you 2000s.
Yeah. See, because I look at it as early 2000s, like 2000, 2001. That's to me was like I love the Nation and stuff. But that's
absolutely. And Blackface DX on the Nation. I mean, can we say Blackface still?
You can say it as long as we ain't doing it, bro.
That's right.
I'm not doing it. My wife's Trinidadian. She'll break my face. Not happening.
All right. And 2010s. I'm gonna go out and throw somebody who I followed in their ROH career from 2013 all the way to their rise in the WWE. My doppelganger. My buddy from Maryville, Canada, Quebec, Kevin Owens.
Oh, KO. Man, I love Cesaro. I love it because I'm a huge fan of Jason Statham.
Right, fair enough. Okay, it's Cesaro.
Right? So
Jason Statham. You're right.
Right? And I just thought he actually looked tough. Not tough as in I'm a tough guy. Not like Terry Funk tough, but I'm strong.
Yeah. Oh,
and I'm tough.
He's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
It's an absolute beast. And since, we're both indie guys, it is a new decade. It is a new start. I mean, it sucks so far.
Yeah.
But if you could pick an indie wrestler that you think people need to watch over the next 10 years, whose hat would you throw into the ring for that? I'm gonna let you go first on this one because I already got my pick. But I want you to be in the hot seat for a minute here, Danny.
Yeah, because it sucks because there are a lot of friends too.
There's a lot of friends. I got a lot of friends too.
Yeah,
but I picked mine. As soon as I started talking, I had
yeah.
mine locked in.
I think mine soon came to my head too. He's a piece of shit, but I love Mark Wheeler.
I knew you were gonna say Wheeler.
I love Mark Wheeler,
and I love Wheeler too. I've had him twice.
Him and Hakeem Zayn, man. Like, back when when we used to go to shows, and he used to go to SUPERKICK shows. It's like, because he's the nicest guy on the fucking planet.
Yep.
Right, and he's genuine. He's done both my art shows. I consider him a really good friend. But when he gets into character, he's such a piece of shit. And like the way he treats his girlfriend on those like unlisted SUPERKICK shows, it's just like, oh, you're such, and I want to hate him. Him and Stratos, like I love those guys so much, but it's hate. Like, and then when I see him in public, we hug each other, and so I just like, I hate you. Him and you can never go wrong with Jody, because Jody, if
you're she throwing out a guy and a girl? Okay, all right. I'll counteract your guy, girl.
We can play that game.
I counteracted you. I'll counteract your guy, girl. All right, fine. You want to talk about Jody? No problem. I like to call this lady a princess, a bubblegum princess. Alexi Nicole. Keep your eyes on her. Her star's shining. And if we're gonna go guys, I got to give it up to my boy Jackson Stone.
Yeah.
Just had his Impact Gut Check winner from last year. Just had his Impact debut a few weeks ago. And man, he is one of the most humble sweethearts, but in the ring, he's a fucking beast. There's a lot of great contenders out there, and an honorable mention in the background players for when shows reopen. Honorable mention for sure is Gabriel Fuerza. Fuerza is just an incredible talent whose star is going to shine bright. And he was very forthcoming recently with comments about, how fucking Canadian wrestlers are treated like shit when they're trying to get in and get visas and get working. So hopefully he shined a very bright light on a very big issue.
I hope so, because there's so many great Canadian wrestlers that they just need that platform. It's like looking at your back right now. I can't stop looking at Psycho Mike, and it's like back the day of SUPERKICK with Psycho Mike was with RJ City, and they were two guys, man. Like that gimmick was so over. And a lot of those SUPERKICK fans, there's a lot of hardcore fans, but there's a lot of people who just wanted to get drunk and watch wrestling, right? There's a lot of hipsters and stuff that just wanted to have a good time, which is great. I love it. If you're watching wrestling and you're paying, I'm loving it, right? Mm-hmm. But like that gimmick was over like fire. And like Psycho Mike, when he gets on the mic or wrestles, he can do anything. So like if he got the right platform, that guy could blow up to be the next big thing if they let him.
Well, you know what? They got NXT UK. They got NXT India. They already have NXT, NXT, which is America. There have been whispers. There was whispers late at tail end of last year of an NXT North. There was whispers. But with everything with the pandemic, those whispers have kind of been pushed aside. It's surprising that they would start up a NXT India, considering the simple fact that they have like the highest numbers of COVID in the world. But you know what? A lot of the talent that was out there, they really, really impressed me. And I think they got a good crop of young talent that's going to shine brightly when they get mixed properly into the situation. But man, if there is an NXT North, there's only one person who could helm that ship. Two people who could helm that ship. One of them would have to leave his producing duties, would have to come back, move back to Canada, and that's TJ Wilson.
If you want to run the women.
To run the women and the men. He's produced some really good men's matches too. Don't sleep on TJ.
I think the reason why the women's revolution is the way it is because of TJ. Hands down.
The same thing on my show. Stop stealing my lines, Danny. I said
sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. But it's because the truth. It's the truth.
It is the truth.
It's the truth because he knows how to handle it.
Exactly. And he knows how to deal with their personalities, and he knows how to pinpoint their strengths and to overshadow their weaknesses, right? He knows how to work a match into their weaknesses and still their strengths, so everybody comes out looking good. It doesn't matter who gets the pinfall. Everybody's over in one of those TJ Wilson matches. And another honorable mention, just because what he's done with Battle Arts and the way he's kind of trained his crop and the way he really helped, Ontario indie wrestling grow, in my opinion. It's always been there, but I think he elevated it a little bit. be Santino Marella, aka Anthony Corelli. I think Anthony Corelli did some amazing things at Battle Arts in his time there. And I know that AC Coca and Dave, who are now the new owners, my boys from HWE, they are going to elevate Battle Arts even further.
I hope so, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for a lot of things.
Yeah, I only got to see one Battle Art show, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Oh, I've interviewed half of their roster. They're amazing people. And I don't know if any of them have ever hit you up, but man, if any of them ever do hit you up, I'm going to send all of them to you because you could do some amazing work of theirs. I would love to see a Sharpie of Bianca Corelli rocking that Battle Arts Women's Champion. I would love to see that. That would be something special for sure. All right, Danny, before I let you go, shout out all your socials. Let people know where they can get your amazing artwork. We don't have to share price or anything. That's all private through DM. But let people know where they can get out the Sharpie Man. And don't forget, as soon as this interview's over, I'm hitting you back up on Facebook Messenger. I'm going to say, Danny, DDP.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about a bunch of things, actually. Because there's a bunch of things we got to keep quiet that I think you're really going to like. And then maybe next time you have me on, we could talk about them publicly.
Absolutely. This isn't a one-off, Danny. You're now a member. Oh, I didn't say it to you. I'm sorry. Hold on. Danny, before you shout out your socials, I want to let the whole world know that now you are a member of the Straight Talk family. There you go, Danny.
Yeah.
You're a member of the Straight Talk family, brother.
Good.
You've got my contact info. I've got yours. Anytime you want to come back on the show, if I can fit it in, and I'm not trying to be a cocky motherfucker, but there's just so many interviews that I am doing right now, and it's good to be busy, because if you're not busy, then you're not doing shit right. So
100%.
I got to do the family thing, and I know you got to do the family thing. I'm a dad. You're a dad. We got that lifestyle. We got to keep our wives happy.
Yeah, man.
I had to run this interview by the missus. No, I didn't. She's a fantastic supporter of the show and what I'm doing, my dream. And if I tell her I got an interview, she just smiles. She says, "Okay, eat something quickly, and then go the fuck downstairs and do your thing." Exactly. So, shout out all your socials where everyone can get in touch with you to get some of this amazing, amazing artwork.
Danny Granger Art. That's everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I don't do Twitch because they don't have Saga on there. And that's it. Yeah, man. That's about it. Like I said to you earlier, man, I grew up with a pencil in my hand, right? Like I didn't grow up with a remote control. I didn't grow up with a keyboard.
Speaking of Sega, Hartford, the Whale,
yeah,
Vancouver, you only get this once in a lifetime. Just relax. You can sneak out through the window so my mom can't see you. Okay, the Whale. All right. Jesus, it's only the second period.
Buddy, Hartford Whalers. They were awesome.
They were.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. They were just fun. But yeah, man. Danny Granger Art, everything. And if you want to buy one of my shirts, you go to DougGilmour.com and you can buy a Danny Granger shirt there and help support me and the killer.
That's it. And that's it. That's two legends for the price of one.
Perfect.
That's what you guys are getting. Danny, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure. I knew this conversation was going to be fun, and it's great to get these conversations because it's not all wrestling. And as much as I love wrestling, wrestling is my passion. It's great to just shoot the shit. And I'm glad that this is going to be one of the first of many YouTube exclusives. So if you guys want to see more, you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to hit that bell to get notified whenever I'm dropping something adorable, because I am adorable. And then when the mini host drops something even more adorable, life is good.
Yeah, man. I really want to do 5 questions, so you let her know.
I will let her know. We're going to set that up for sure. She would love to do that. And I know that all she's going to be is like, can you make me some anime art? I want to hang it in my room. And I want to, like, can you make me Death Note? And I just put it up in my room. She's obsessed with anime. Anytime I had to tell her, you got to pull the anime question because you're asking everybody, and a lot of them. A lot of wrestlers love anime. It kind of goes hand in hand.
Younger wrestlers do, yeah.
But there are some that don't.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about it. I know about Astro Boy. Is that anime? Yeah, that's a little old school. Let me give you.
I don't like much anime, but there's one I absolutely love. So if you appreciate the Wu-Tang,
of course.
Okay.
They nothing to mess with.
Absolutely. Then RZA produced all the music for both of these. It's called Afro Samurai. Check it out.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen like one thing of them. Yes.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch everything. The first one is like 7 episodes, and the second one is a full-length movie, like 2 hours long. But just the artwork. For somebody like yourself, you would appreciate the artwork in Afro Samurai, and Samuel Jackson is the voice of Afro Samurai. So
there's no cussing.
No, yeah, there's actually a lot of words that aren't cussing, surprisingly, but
Oh wow. Oh okay.
but 95% of the script is bad words, very bad words. Danny. Very bad words. Don't watch it with the little ones around. Definitely wait, and it's something for you and the missus to watch by yourselves.
No, just me.
Okay,
But yeah.
just you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's okay. Well, then I can't help you with that, Danny. My wife doesn't share a lot of my same interests. All she does is share my interest for wrestling.
Oh, see, my wife doesn't do that, but it's good. It makes us a good yin yang for the kids.
That's it. That's it. It's the best of both worlds. All right, Danny, thank you so much. Go enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm gonna hit you up right after we end this meeting. But thank you so much. Actually, you know what? After I push stop, we'll just hang on for a few more minutes. But thank you so much. As always, guys, I'm your host, your boy George Mackay. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Don't forget to leave a comment and a like, because all comments, negative or positive, I love them. Bring them. All right, guys. Peace.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next week for another episode on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. Also follow us on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And for all our merchandise, you can search us on ProWrestlingTees.com.